Missed at the top of the show, I went over kind of my big picture thoughts on the bowl game, and it really centered around Garrett Nussmeier's ability to take a patchwork offense and really churn it efficiently. And that's my biggest positive moving into 2025, and I don't think that's even close. I think LSU will be a top 10 team in the preseason because of Garrett Nussmeier and this transfer portal class. How they fare once they get there is to be determined, and certainly you start with a really, really difficult one there at Clemson, but that was my biggest takeaway in this game. Certainly LSU defensively was not great in this game. Baylor threw for way too many yards. He gave up 507 total yards, and most of that was through the air, 445 of it. Did a good job against the run, only 62 rushing yards for Baylor in the net, but 445 through the air is a little bit disheartening. And when you look at Sawyer Robertson, he had a good back end of his year. Josh Cameron's a really good player. He had 8 catches for 111 yards, and I thought did a nice job. But LSU just did not cover very well. And it was, look, they threw it 51 times, so it's tough to cover all 51 times. And I said this on the postgame show on the network. This is not intended to be picking on Ashton Stamps. Actually, contrary, but like Ashton Stamps broke up 3 passes in the game, but he got beat some. Like he went on a double move for a sluggo that he got beat on down to the one. The next play was the one where Weeks got injured. You just aren't as good on the corners as you need to be. And it wasn't even Zy Alexander's best game, quite frankly. At safety, you've had your issues all year. Deshaun Spears got a lot of snaps in this game. Javian Toviano played a ton as well. This is a position group, in my opinion, that needs this influx of talent that's coming in. Jakeem Jackson coming in, Mansour Delane coming in, DJ Pickett coming in. I'm confident they're going to upgrade at safety as well and bring in some talent to compete. So that's the part that's got to get cleaned up. You have a lot of returning talent at defensive tackle. Jacobian Guillory is back. Don McKinley is back. Ahmad Bro is back. Like you bring in the Texas transfer at defensive tackle. You've got guys there at the edge. Relaford has shown some flashes. You're bringing in some Power 5 starters in Jamari Butler and Jack Pyburn and Patrick. It's a double P, and I can't think of it. The Florida State kid. Patrick's one of the names. I can't think if it's the first or the last. Doesn't matter. Those guys are all coming in as transfers for you. That should help. Your linebacking core looks phenomenal. You've got, hopefully, Whit Weeks is just fine, and it's just a dislocation, and he's back in action and can take the spring off and then be ready to go for summer conditioning. West Weeks comes back as well. Devon Keys had the pick 6 in this game and played pretty well in the last couple of games.
Patrick Payton, there
it is. Didn't know if it was something. Peyton, Patrick, whatever. It's Florida State, a lot of sacks. He's coming in. You've got guys at linebacker as well with Harold Perkins returning. So it's really the secondary that needs to be shored up, and then you probably have to help out at tight end as well. But the secondary's got to be shored up, and the cavalry, it feels like it's coming with Corey Raymond, but that's got to be the case. And it's just, that was a disheartening thing in this game, is that you weren't good enough in the secondary to cover Baylor's wide receivers, and to allow that many yards, especially late in the game, was disappointing. The other kind of disappointing thing, that you would look at the special teams, you go, oh, you ran a kickback for a touchdown. That's awesome. That's great special teams. And that was awesome. That was great special teams. I loved every second of it. Fantastic stuff. However, you shanked a punt. You got a new punter coming in. You had a field goal blocked, which has happened a little bit too much in the last 3 years, for being honest. And you, what was the third one? You shanked a punt.
Well, they had the block was on the snap, skidded on the ground.
Right.
And then that was the reason why the hold was late, and then it got blocked.
Right.
Well, was that a different one? I can't remember.
No, the snap was fine. The hold was okay. They busted in the middle.
Yeah.
The Baylor kid
and
came through.
Yeah, and there was the one snap
and
where
then Aaron Burrell kicked it out of bounds to start the second half.
Yeah.
So those 3 just like massive gaffes. A blocked field goal, kicking a kickoff out of bounds, and then shanking a punt. Those 3 things you could be playing the Kansas City Chiefs or U-High, and all of that is completely unforced. And like, I don't even think that in fact, I know that's not coaching. That's just players not getting the job done.
You had plenty of problems all year with the hold, snapping, like long snapping,
and some
holding,
of that,
field goals. Like
it
was a problem all year.
Yeah, but and like, it's one of those deals where you go back to like 2 years ago when it was just an absolute disaster on special teams, And I would suggest, although Brian Polian got a ton of flack for it and deserves some, like when your unit's that bad, like the coach does deserve flack. But I kind of pushed back and was like, I really don't think it's the fault of the special teams coach when Malik Neighbors drops 2 punts. I don't think it's the special teams coach's fault when Jack Besh drops the opening kickoff. I don't think it's the special teams coach's fault when the guy, you're offsides on a kickoff. Like that's just elementary stuff the players have got to do. And like I realize that everybody wants to just dump on Brian Polian for all that stuff, but to me it's like some of that stuff the players just got to handle. And like that, some of that stuff we saw on Tuesday night, the players have got to handle that. I thought some of the special team stuff was a little sloppy as well. But I think to bring my entire point back full circle, like you had a makeshift offensive line, not your best weapons at wide receiver. Defensively, you didn't cover very well. You gave up 450 yards passing. Your special teams had some gaffes outside of the one huge play that you did make on special teams. And all that just didn't seem to matter. LSU was never, in my opinion, in doubt of losing this game, of winning this game, because Garrett Nussmeier did such a good job. And that, to me, is going to kind of be where I hang my hat from now until Labor Day. Like, I just feel like he's a guy. And I'm curious, and we'll see kind of how this narrative progresses, and we'll probably know more come July and certainly into August, how LSU fans feel about having 13 under center. But I'm really struggling with those who don't feel good about it. Like, you really have to harp on the interceptions and the couple of strips that he had and his lack of mobility. Those are the things you're going to have to really harp on. Because if you're going to look at the productivity of the offense, and you're going to look at the passing yardage, which he went over 4,000 yards, and it's the second greatest passing season in LSU football history. Like, trying to jump over that and hurdle around to the one interception he threw in this game, or to just harp completely on the third and fourth quarters in College Station, that seems like it's a little bit, should I use the word biased? I don't know. No. I just don't agree. I think that's where I'll put it. I'm trying to be literal with my speech. I don't think that's biased. I just don't agree. I think you've now got, coming into 2025, a fifth-year senior quarterback with a year of starting under his belt who threw for 4,000 yards, second in the SEC, and took a makeshift team that wasn't playing great on defense or special teams and won the Texas Bowl by 2 scores. I feel really good about that as an LSU fan, and if you are, I feel like you should as well, especially understanding what's coming in at wide receiver, what they could potentially develop at the offensive line, and how I think that they're going to be really talented at running back as well next year. I think LSU is going to be a heck of a team offensively, and that was really on display, I think, even more so on Tuesday, considering the shortcomings the other two phases had throughout the course of the game. So that's my thoughts on the Texas Bowl. I guess we'll kind of leave that there. If you're looking for LSU football content, even though the season is over, hunt on LSU, whether that's on YouTube or in podcast form, all LSU football all year round. So if that's your jam and you don't care about LSU and Vanderbilt and basketball and you're not that fired up for baseball season that's coming up, you're just football, Hunt on LSU is all football all year round. So go ahead and check that out each and every day if you would. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.